The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Desde Brooklyn hasta el sol del Medio Oriente, José Flores con fuego en la mente. Raised in the Bronx where dreams don't sleep, donde el hambre te enseña a resistir. Section 8 life, no handouts, no cheat. He built his power from the pain on the street.
Cada golpe, cada lágrima caída fue el fuego que encendió su vida. Ahora camina con propósito y voz. José Flores, hear the noise. De la calle al combate, turn his trials into faith. Con disciplina y con fe, now he rises every day. From the black to the world sin temor.
You ever need a haircut?
So that these kids can learn how to play instruments, or want to, not just learn, but want to. But I think that there's a major shift.
Iraq to Korea, he led from the front. Now he lifts others, never just stunts. Hoy es mentor, líder, amigo.
What's up? Happy New Year, new energy, and a new chapter. So with this being New Year, new you, family, are you ready to step into 2026 with intention? Are you ready to rise, show up big, and stop playing small with life? You know what I'm saying? How you doing? Look, check it out. You were called to live. Then you're in the right place. This is the Motivated Mindset conmigo, Jose Flores, the podcast that fires you up, locks you in, and pushes you toward your next breakthrough. Big energy, powerful insights, real transformation. Look at here. I'm a brown Latino, born in New York City, straight out of the Bronx, raised in Brooklyn. That New York flavor, that hustle, that grit. How you doing? Right? It shaped me. It built me. And it still drives everything I do. I'm a combat veteran, retired after 30 years in the United States Army. That's right. And before we go any further, I want to send a powerful salute to all my veterans, service members, and our first responders who are listening. Much respect, mucho respeto. You already know, in this season of my life, I wear a few hats, different hats. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm a certified mediator. You got some issues. And yes, even an end-of-life death doula. But let me tell you the truth behind all those titles. I do what I do because I'm called to serve, because I know what struggles feels like, because I know what it is, what it means to fight for purpose, and what it takes to help others find theirs. Every single day, my mission is simple: to inspire, to uplift, to challenge, and to remind you that no matter what, no matter where you are, where you start, you can always redefine your life with heart, discipline, and faith, and relentless drive. That's why this podcast exists, The Motivated Mindset. This is where we talk about resilience. We talk about culture. We talk about optimism, discipline, and the courage it takes to keep pushing, even when life swings hard. We keep it real here. New York City real talk, straight talk, Bronx humor. How you doing? Okay, now, sugar-coated. You're going to laugh. You're going to reflect. And you might even shed a tear. How you doing? I'll take another one, please. But I promise you this. You will leave here stronger than when you press that play button. Because this isn't just about motivation. This is about transformation, familia. Today's guest is a living example of what it means to lead with purpose, resilience, and be truly motivated. Mindset. Gregory White is a native Detroiter who carries the grit, adaptability, and the inner toughness of his hometown into every space he enters. Now he's based in Washington, D.C., and Gregory is a proud father of 3 and a family man who understands that real success starts at home and is sustained by values. Professionally, Gregory serves as a program and management analyst at the Office of Comptroller of the Currency Operations at the intersection of data, policy, and strategy. What sets him apart is the ability to translate complexity into clarity using systems, thinking analytical, and visualization to solve people's problems, strengthen those people, and build resilience, institutions that last. Before federal service at Fortune 100, 150 companies like Pfizer, Morgan Stanley, Liberty Mutual. Gregory first mission was education. He taught government, history, geography in inner city schools in Boston and Detroit, planting seeds of leadership where it mattered most. Now, that kind of commitment to service continues today as an advisory neighborhood commissioner in Ward 8 here in DC, proving that leadership isn't about titles, it's about impact with credentials from the University of Michigan and Harvard. Oh, yes. Along with a PMP and Lima Six Sigma certification, Gregory shows us that growth is intentional, mindset driven, and lifelong. Family, this conversation is about resilience, system service, and staying anchored to your why, even as the terrain changes. So let's welcome a leader who lives the motivational mindset cada día, every day, right? Gregory White. So stay frosty, stay motivated. Húa, dame un momento que te lo voy a traer if you know what I'm saying. All right.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
All right, Gregory, welcome.
Jose, how you doing, sir?
Yay. Hey, thank you for being on my podcast. I really appreciate it, hermano. Gracias. It means a lot to me. Man. So, people always want to know, where you're from. Tell us who is Gregory White before you became all this stuff, and which is stupendous, by the way. It was cool. Yeah. So
listen, Jose, first of all, I just want to say thank you for your service. I really appreciate someone like you creating this platform, creating this opportunity for engagement, and even thinking that someone like me is worthy of a little bit of time on these airways. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me.
Look, my pleasure.
In terms of who I am, I feel like we're always growing,
yes.
But I see myself as a leader who's been fortunate enough to lead across a number of different systems, organizations, and I would even say communities. Being from Detroit, I feel that I was made differently. I feel like I was called to lead in a certain kind of way. And I think that in my current capacity, I get to do that here in Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir. So tell us a little bit how you grew up. What was that like?
Detroit,
what was it like as a kid? What was that like?
I grew up as the oldest of 9 kids. I have 4 brothers, 4 sisters. But it was a unique situation because I was born first, and then I have my 4 sisters, and then I got brothers. And I think that when you grow up in a predominantly female environment, it shapes you in ways that we're not conscious of at the time.
Yeah.
As a big brother, I was always aware of my physical ability to dominate, and I wanted to make sure that wasn't me. I went to neighborhood schools, Detroit Public Schools. Shout out to DPS, proud Finney High graduate for those who are from Detroit, East Sider, and was fortunate enough to get into the University of Michigan, where I became an education major and later a teacher. And that was because for me, growing up in Detroit, very, very, very working class, school was the most stable institution in my life.
Yes, sir.
School, your lights was on every day. The water worked every day. The heat worked every day. In the winter and in the summer, the AC was on. So
right.
I have a special affinity for schools and teachers due to the impact they have on us as individuals and our communities.
Wow. And while you was growing, what were some of your, inspirations, mentors, people you looked up to?
That's a very interesting question as well, because I didn't have any college educated people in my family. And so there wasn't a strong push to go to a place like Michigan or Harvard, but there were people in my family, in my community, and in my school. So I'll start with my family. I think that within my family, my mother always had high standards for me. I don't know that she had them for my siblings. So mom, when
right.
Keep that in mind. I definitely got to show love to my great aunt Virginia, my mom's aunt, my grandfather's sister, who not only had high standards for me and herself, she walked the walk and talked the talk. You know, being a Black woman working in the plant, she was one of the first people I saw have a nice house, a nice car. So I knew that somebody that had my blood running through their veins had aspired to something, even if I didn't know how to connect those dots as a young person.
Right.
And then I definitely got to give a shout out to my best friend from childhood, Clyde. His dad, Clyde Sr., was a living example for me. You know, they had a big family. There were 9 of them. They lived a block over. I was their paper boy. That's how I became acquainted with the Lockett family. And Clyde Sr., he was amazing to me. You know, I spoke with him about 3-4 days ago. He was the kind of guy who worked hard every day, but still found time to come shoot ball in the backyard with Clyde and I. You know, I saw him lead, but not due to his authority, but to his influence, his love, his care, his affection for his children, his sons, his daughters, his wife. And that kind of stuck with me. Of course, when you're young, you don't know that you're being mentored in this kind of thing. And then in school, I'll tell you, some of my teachers saw something in me long before I saw it in myself. And so I think one of my teachers, Miss Boggs, she would love it if I tell the story, but Miss Boggs always had high standards for me. She was my 11th grade English teacher, and we're still friends today. You know, we talked a couple weeks ago, and I felt like she never let me slack off. And having people in your life that cared about you, that checked in on you and demanded more from you within their sphere of influence, I think that shaped me appropriately.
Wow, no, that's amazing. I know growing up in New York City, when we lived in the South Bronx, the schools were terrible, but I didn't know how terrible they were until I left.
Right. It's one of those things where when chaos is your norm.
Right.
You don't know. And I felt that way when I went to college. You know, you're 17, 18 years old, and you're talking about the neighborhoods you're from and what you do and how you grew up. And people would look at me like, you're from where? Like, how did you get here? You know, so I definitely understand. Shout out to my friends from New York. The University of Michigan has a huge New York population. So that's how I got introduced to the East Coast, is through my colleagues, peers, other professionals at the University of Michigan.
Wow. So how did you go from Michigan? How did that process work for Harvard? That's just amazing to me. Yeah, if you could just talk about that, that'd be cool beans. I mean, yeah.
You know what, Jose? I'm gonna tell you, I went to college out of spite. Okay. My grades weren't that good. You know, we had some challenges at home, and my grades reflected that. It did not reflect my true talents and abilities. And so a couple of things happened at the same time. One, I'm looking at this grade transcript of mine, and it did not reflect how I saw myself. 2, I'm walking through the halls of my high school, and I'm hearing teachers and principals and counselors talk to guys and girls about college and career, and they weren't talking to me. And you know, that kind of pissed me off, because I felt like adults in my life, you should be encouraging me as well. And so I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go to college too. I'm gonna go for a year, so you can know that I didn't just get in. I got in, and I was able to succeed. I get in. Of course, I graduate from Michigan, but before I graduated, I had some ups and downs because I didn't have a strong enough body of preparation in some areas. I righted the ship. I saw that the end of undergrad was coming, and I was thinking about jobs. Well, I built a network, and someone within my network pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, what do you know about the Rockefeller Brothers Fellowship?" I knew nothing. But at that particular point in time, the Rockefeller Brothers Fund had a fellowship for outstanding minorities going into teaching. And I applied, and I got the fellowship along with two other of my colleagues at the University of Michigan. And I applied to University of Michigan, got in, I got a full ride and all of that. But in order to get this fellowship, you had to be flown out to New York for the final stage of interviews.
Right, right.
And you were interviewed in this room, like panel style, 4 or 5 people around a circle table against you.
Right, right,
and,
right.
It was a very stressful experience, but when I emerged, I felt pretty confident about my chances. Later, I got a call. Someone that was on that committee that interviewed me had a friend who was a Harvard alum. That person called me and asked me, "Hey, where are you going to school?"
Right, right, right.
And I said, "I'm going to Michigan. I got a full ride. I'm from Detroit, and I pledged Kappa, so I'm a proud Kappa man."
Right, right.
After I'm thinking, this is the Holy Grail.
Right.
We had a conversation, and what she was able to impart to me was this: Michigan's a great school.
Mm-hmm.
Harvard does not have a lot of Gregory Whites.
Got it.
Michigan had its turn. There's a new terrain available for you, your leadership, your thought process, your strategy, your gifts, talents, and abilities. I left that conversation thinking about what she said. And something that helped push me over the edge was this. At that point in time, affirmative action was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an experience at the University of Michigan where I was mistaken for an athlete. That had happened a number of times, but this particular time, it kind of pissed me off because I've established myself as a scholar by now.
Right, 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 right.
And I thought to myself, you know what? No one questions your credentials when you have that Harvard pedigree. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get that. Because not only did I have Detroit and Michigan, I'm going to have Harvard as well. So when you see that piece of paper,
mm-hmm.
you need to have some respect for who you're talking to.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the things that led me to Harvard. The process itself was kind of interesting because they had a student of color recruitment event. I flew out there. I stayed at Wellesley. I was so green. I didn't know that Wellesley was a all-girls institution. I'm from Detroit.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I remember being there, and I called my boy Jeff, and I'm like, "Jeff, yo, they got me staying at this place with all girls. This is crazy." I don't realize this is competition.
Right, right.
Jeff says, "You where?" I said, "Wellesley." He says, "It's an all-girls school." And I'm like, oh God. So shout out to Harvard for putting me up at Wellesley.
Right.
I go to the student of color recruitment program. And prior to going, I spoke with a lot of my professors and people I knew at Michigan to see if they had contacts at Harvard. And they did. So there were people there who were already, speaking my name into the universe. And I thought it was too good to be true, if I'm going to be honest with you. They were very nice. People were extremely excited to see me. And so I'm like, this is too good to be true. Let me find somebody that looks like they're from where I'm from.
Right.
So I see this brother and I pull him to the side and I say, "Yo, man, let me ask you something." Because they had current students as part of the student of color recruitment program.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and there's not a lot of Black guys in education.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say, "Yo, they being real nice to me over here. Is this real? Or they just trying to get me in to be the model minority, the token?"
Right. The token, yeah.
I'm not interested in that. He said, "Listen, son," because he was from New York.
Yeah.
Jersey. Lamani, I apologize if I'm getting it wrong, but he basically said, "Listen, they want you here. This is legitimate. Mm-hmm. You earned your way. It's your decision." I said, I haven't even taken my GRE yet. He said, "You don't know how this game is played. You don't know how this works. Yeah. If you want to be here, you can be here."
Right.
The rest is history.
Wow, that is amazing, man. That is simply amazing. That is something else. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk about why organizations fail good people, smart people, when we come back. So we're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Awesome.
All right.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. Oh. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. 'Cause Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down here to lie. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on these front lines. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, he'll pay the ultimate price. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
Welcome back. Hey, mi gente, my people, if you got any questions, comments, please put them up so we got to wear them out. Mr. Gregory White, he's here to answer any questions. But we had left off, what is it? Why do organizations fail smart people?
I don't think organizations intend to, but organizations tend to be built to preserve stability over developing people, developing judgment, developing ideas. And over time, you have this overarching goal to create stability. You have people who move through the organization and they rise through that organization they start to internalize that mantra of stabilizing the organization as well. They become the acolytes of that process instead of the disruptors of that process. If we don't set up reward systems and mechanisms that generate and support new ideas, new information, new ways of seeing things, then we continue to get this stability. Now, stability, it's not inherently good or bad. Over time, that's when that stability can start to create an environment you didn't necessarily want. So you got stability over purpose. You have people succeeding. And then when those people succeed, they reinforce the whole system that brought them through. You know, what we could do a better job of as leaders is figuring out ways to create reward systems and structures for ingenuity, ideas, safe spaces, developmental opportunities. That's how you get the most of your people over an extended time frame.
Gotcha. And you know, like the title said, leadership without authority, influencing systems from the middle. You know, and how do you see that? You know, just so somebody may see that, say, what does that mean? You know, what does that mean?
I appreciate the question. You know, I started thinking about this a long time ago. I was trying to figure out why myself and other good people were having challenges within our respective workspaces. And after a lot of thought, I came up with a few things. Number one, you tend to inherit your work. You usually don't get to generate your own work. You inherit your supervisor. You inherit your colleagues. So you inherit all of these kinds of things, but you're responsible for results. I started thinking, well, how do we do that? If I can't force somebody to do what they need to do, you build trust, you navigate complexity, and you create alignment. Those three things are what I see as building leadership without authority. What can you get done when somebody is not required to follow you? Because authority is granted. You know, you get into a role, they say, you know what, now you're the new division chief. You have authority based on your title and your role. When you have leadership, that's earned and developed.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Authority expires, leadership does not.
Right.
As soon as somebody else occupies that position as division chief, they now have the authority that you once had. My leadership doesn't go anywhere. It goes with me. You get to lead in a new space. You get to lead in a new way. You get to lead new people, new systems, new processes, new ideas, new organizations. So leadership without authority is understanding, how do I maintain trust, navigate complexity, and create alignment so that I can keep this thing moving forward.
Gotcha. We have a question.
I
just posted it. What does leading from the middle look like in your day-to-day work?
For me, here's one of the things I think about. One, taking the risk that others cannot or will not take. So sometimes, particularly in an environment like we're in right now, people want to keep their head low. People feel very vulnerable. And compliance is a lot easier.
Yeah.
A leader knows this and says, you know what? I'm going to raise my hand anyway. I'm going to bring up the uncomfortable topic. I'm going to absorb the risk as an individual so that others can lead from where they are in a more comfortable space. I think that's one of the number one things I do. Two, you connect people who need to be connected to generate more than you could as individuals. So Jose can do something, Gregory can do something, but the combination of Jose and Gregory working together as complements, that creates a whole new animal.
Right.
I do that. So speak up, absorb the complexity or absorb the risk, navigate complexity, unite people. I think those are things I tend to do on a day-to-day basis at my job.
All right. We have another question that says, how do you build credibility so people trust your leadership even without a title?
I think one, performance. You know, it's when I was younger, a mentor told me you got to get on the pot. The pot is performance over time. You know, there's no denying truth in the pattern. You got to perform well and at a high level, given what you're tasked with, and then you can expand. You can't be all out in left field trying to do things if you're not an expert in your own space. So number one, take care of home, exceed, and the success should be woven into the fabric of where you are. Then take on something else. Put a new idea out there on the table and you lead that. See that somebody else is having some difficulty and offer to support them. You know, come up with products, systems, or tools that can help people navigate the complexity of their work. You know, when you're not the direct beneficiary of that. You know, at my current job, I earned my Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, and so we're part of the problem-solving team that tackles enterprise level problems, and I love it because it's not directly related to my job title or my particular line of business. It's anything in this entire agency that has a problem that we get line of sight on.
Yeah,
we're tasked with making it better. So I think you build credibility by succeeding where you're planted first, then reaching out with your leadership or support for others.
Cool beans. Oh, that sounds good. We have another question. I think you may know this person. Gregory, you are my role model. My question is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to grow their leadership presence without waiting for a title? Yvette.
First of all, Yvette, you're awesome. I really appreciate the question. I think about a few things. I tend to try to think about, where do I want to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, and then work backwards.
Yeah.
You know, high value opportunities are not only rewarded based on your merit, but they're rewarded based on your relationship. So can somebody trust you to do something big? I think you do that in a stair-step kind of way. Start succeeding where you are. Look at what your organization's issues are. I like to start with the line of business that I'm in. I like to look at our agency's strategic goals over an extended period of time. I like to talk with my leadership to understand, how are you being held accountable for these results? Because once I understand the connection between our enterprise level goals, how my enterprise or my local level leaders are being held accountable, I can see my role in that, but I also can start to ideate around how I can help them. Then I branch out to other good people I know. When people know what you can do, then they can volunteer your name in rooms that you're not in. When they know you have a skill set, they can say, hey, Jose, you may not have met my friend Greg White, but I think you might want to talk to him about that thing. Yeah. I have worked on so many projects over the course of my tenure at this agency, the agencies I've worked at, the private sector before I came to government, just on that principle alone. Understand, this is the top level. What are they trying to get done? This is who you report to. How are they accountable for results to that top level? How are you delivering to your person? And then figure out, how can you develop a way to support people who you don't have to? And here's one of the other things I think about. A leadership coach gave this to me years ago. It's not that we don't network. You know, if you're an engaged person in any way, shape, or form, you have some level of network. We don't do the best job at networking strategically. And here's one of the things I think about. Because you inherit your work, your colleagues, and your supervisor may not be incentivized to promote you, because if they do, they have to replace your level of contribution at your level of salary. So you have to think a step ahead and develop relationships with those who are at least one level, if not two levels above your supervisor. And you
Got
have to do that strategically, because those are the people who can open a door for you when your supervisor could shut it down. Those are the people who will create a detail for you. Those are the people who put you on a special project. Those are the people who nominate you for a leadership development program, some sort of performance award, some sort of advisory group.
Absolutely.
You have to be more strategic.
And I know sometimes some individuals are afraid to get out of their comfort zone and just stay right where they're at.
Mhm.
And I know that's an issue sometimes, for some people, that
100%. 100%. And some people have been groomed to think that you're not supposed to do the things that I'm telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
When I do these kinds of things at my job, sometimes people will come to me and be like, I didn't know we could do that. I said, why were you waiting on permission?
Yeah.
You're a professional. You're an adult. You're a grown person. And since I work for a federal agency, you serve the American public. There are literally over 300 million people out there who are waiting on you to do a good job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. We have a follow-up question, and it says, how does emotional intelligence play in leading without authority? And what techniques help you handle resistance from colleagues?
There are no good leaders who don't also have emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Emotional intelligence is your ability to walk into a room, be in a conversation, be on a project, and hear others and hear them as they wish to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not just hearing the words from Jose, but hearing the words from Jose as Jose intended them to land with you. And that's a skill you develop over time with exposure. So I don't think you have any good leaders who don't have good emotional intelligence. They go hand in hand.
Right. And we have another question from Miss Michelle Turner. Connections create new relationships and credibility.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. When somebody is connecting you to someone, they're intentionally saying, hey, I vouch for this person. I'm going to put my professional reputation on the line because Jose said that you're someone I should talk to.
Mm-hmm.
That's credibility.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And one of the things I remind people of is this, there's three kinds of work. It's something I tell people, I tell my kids, I tell anybody who listen. There's hard work, there's smart work, and there's network. Okay?
Yeah.
Most of us who are Black, brown, and working class, we grew up being taught how to work hard. You go put in a hard day's work. You represent your race. You represent your neighborhood. You represent your ethnicity. You represent your parents. You represent your school. Don't embarrass us. You represent your church. That's how most of us start off.
Yeah. And that's a lot of weight to carry for some people.
Oh, 100%.
And we're always on. We're always on.
Always on. As the oldest of 9 and a father of 3.
Yeah.
Whew. Then we can transition. Some of us, we transition from hard work to smart work. You learn to do as much work as you were required to do in less amount of time. Now you get your time back. Now you get your time back. Or you do the same thing in a way that gets you more payment. So instead of getting, $10 an hour, now you say you get $15 an hour for the same thing. All right. So now we get from hard work to smart work, where we either get our time back or we get more money for doing something similar.
Mm-hmm. We have another question here. It says, can you share one moment in your career when you realized trust isn't given by title, it's earned by behavior?
All right. I'm going to go. Let me finish this last point on hard work, smart work, network, and then I'll do that. Moving from smart work to network. Network is like an exponent on your brains, your activity, and your effort. I could do a lot, But then I get connected to Jose, who has a network. Now I have the power of amplification based on people that I don't even know.
Yeah.
That's the power of network. So with smart work, hard work, you get a job. Network, you get paid more to do it. Network, you get a leadership position that allows you to grow, stretch, and be compensated appropriately.
Yes. Absolutely.
Now let me take this question. I'll say, let's see. Can you share one moment in your career when you realized trust isn't given by title, it's earned by behavior? That's a good question. I used to work for Pfizer, right? And I didn't come from a stereotypical science background. I didn't take any pharmacology courses or anything like that. I wasn't a pre-med major or anything like that. But a friend of mine knew that I was a cerebral person and I had a personality, and that led me to Pfizer. I also was a hustler. I was dealing newspapers because that was the only job kids could get.
Yeah.
I always was thinking about how to maximize money. And when you're a pharmaceutical sales rep, there are a number of people who share the same geography. You have a number of different products, but you have a different weighting on how you get paid out for promoting those products. And I was able to take these diverse individuals who had different managers, who had different weightings, help create a call cycle, help create communication, help create a cadence for our engagement between offices, leverage our resources amongst ourselves informally so that we could serve more patients in our community, but also educate more healthcare professionals. When I realized that people were coming to me and I didn't have the title, I woke up. When managers started picking up my phone and said, hey, my rep is doing better. And I asked them where they get this strategy or that technique from. And they said, Greg White, young man, I don't know who you are. I'd like to have a conversation with you. That's when I learned.
Wow, that is amazing. That is so cool.
Because when you make people money, people remember who you are.
That's right.
You take a burden off someone's plate, they remember who you are.
Yes, yes.
You take a hit for them, they remember who you are. That's leadership.
Yeah. Wow. And on that same thing, I know one of the questions was rethinking work merit and success in modern America. What does that look like?
Rethinking work, merit, and modern success.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we could do is be more flexible about how we think about work. I hear a lot of people say, I just want to come to work, do my job, and leave. I don't want to have to deal with these people. That person's not a leader. Okay. There's somebody who's there to do work. They're not a leader, because there is always a people component of whatever it is that we do. Second, I don't think you should be thinking of your job as something that you A, only can do, or B, should be doing for the rest of your career. Times change, technology change, leadership change, organizational focus change. You need to have the flexibility to know that, hey, I was hired to do X, Y, and Z. I need to be prepared to do 1, 2, and 3. So that's at the individual level, thinking about what my work is more broadly, and then I think that would give you greater levels of happiness. In terms of merit, I think we don't do enough to develop good leaders in formal positions. Okay, in formal positions. Often we reward and promote people based on their individual contributions. That does not make someone qualified or capable to lead people, organizations, or resources. And so I think we need to put more intention behind that, create an infrastructure for development, and make it so that this kind of development doesn't signal that you have a weakness as much as it signals that you have talent. And we want to continue to grow and cultivate that talent. And I know that it's asked about, in this context of, the world changing and stuff like that. But this is how it should have been all along.
Mm-hmm.
This is how it should be all along. As an individual, think more flexibly. As an organization, create environments that support ideation, development, growth, and leadership. Once you weave that into the fabric of your entity, now you have a whole new game to play.
Absolutely. And then you throw AI into it, and that's changing the landscape, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
This is something that is very controversial at my job and in my friendship circle. A number of people are fearful of AI. It's going to take all our jobs. It's going to take all our jobs. I had a conversation with a leader this week, and he said, well, they're not going to have to learn to do anything anymore because AI is going to do all of that. Here's what I would tell you. Those people who understand what expertise they bring to the table will leverage AI. Those people who do not understand what expertise they bring to the table will be replaced by AI.
Got it.
AI requires thought leadership from humans. It is not a sentient being. It is not sitting in a corner waiting to take over the world. This is based on math, statistics, predictions, probability, but it requires fine tuning by the adults in the room. AI actually requires you to be more sophisticated and more knowledgeable, not less. Being from Detroit, this reminds me of the auto industry. For years, we were fighting to keep manufacturing jobs here in the United States. What we should have been thinking about was a more expansive strategy, which is how do we transition low value work to places where it's better to have that work done? And how do we reskill, educate, or upskill our current population of workers who have a tremendous amount of talent, ability, resources, institutional knowledge, expertise? And because we have not done that in the United States writ large, we're experiencing that. We're experiencing that. Most of America is working class right now. The kind of jobs that most men, black, white, or other, could get 30, 40, 50 years ago don't exist. The ability to lead your family with a middle class income, that opportunity has been greatly reduced. And we haven't had a national strategy to address that.
Got it. Wow. That's deep. That is. Well, we have another question that said, what is the biggest lessons you've learned about influence versus authority?
Authority expires. Influence can be enriched and expanded. Authority is something that somebody with greater power than you bestows upon you. Influence is something that you as an individual can develop. You don't require engagement or leadership or permission from somebody else to have influence. I don't go to my supervisor and say, hey, do you mind if I influence these projects that I'm going to be working on? Hey, I heard something interesting in the office. Do you mind if I influence that? That's not what we're doing.
Right.
So influence is something, it's a superpower you get to control.
Yeah. Wow. Absolutely. As we're getting close to the show, what would you like to impart on people, that are watching? What would you like to say as we get ready to close this out a little bit?
That's a good question. Let me think. I'd like to think that I'm a leader because I'm situated at the intersection of leadership, systems, and people. I don't think that I'm doing things that more people couldn't do. So I would tell people, look within yourself and figure out, how can I contribute in a way that's comfortable for me? How can I fill a gap that I see existing that doesn't have solutions that I can provide? And when you look at these systems, understand that this is shift work. All right. This is shift work. You're here to do the best job you can during your shift. Don't get frustrated because you see how to fix all the problems for the org and you just frustrated that it can't happen or it's not happening in your time frame. This is your shift. Train someone else to be the force behind you. All right.
Absolutely. And how can you get in contact with Mr. Gregory? Hey, here is a QR code. Make sure that you use your camera there. But that's so. Before I let you go, Gregory, what's in your plans? What would you like to do as you move forward? Anything coming up for you that you're gonna engage?
I'm thinking about a few things given where we are in our country and in our world. I'm at a new place in my life, given that all my children are now adults and either in college, my youngest, or graduated from college, my middle, or married and a full adult, my oldest. So I'm exploring some developmental opportunities. I'm open to new leadership projects.
Okay.
I don't have a particular industry in mind. I've been able to transition pretty fluidly from financial services at Morgan Stanley to pharmaceuticals at Pfizer, across a number of federal agencies from the U.S. Census Bureau to Housing and Urban Development, and now the OCC. So what I'm going to do is take some time this year, 2026, and do some exploration.
That sounds stupendous. Hey, it's been a pleasure, Gregory, having you on, and just based on the questions and people watching, thank you so much for imparting your knowledge and your lived experience. Coming from where you came from and how some of us always need some hope, need something to hang on to, and you definitely have done that. It's been a stupendous, like I would say. So I just want to say thank you for giving us some of your life experience. Please check in with Gregory. You got his thing there, his QR code, and connect, reach out, and it's so when you write your book, you're gonna come back on.
Oh, absolutely. I like how you slid that in there. I've had a number of my friends and colleagues say that I should write a book.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the challenges is when you're just living your life, you're not clear on how much of that should or how much of that could form a book, So if you guys are out there watching and listening, I'm open to ideas, and international opportunities. That's something I'm very interested in as well. I was just thinking, you asked me what was I going to do this year. I'm definitely going to explore something international.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we got one last question.
Yeah, one last question. Yeah. What will you tell your younger self?
I wish I could go back and speak to my younger self, and I would have told my younger self to trust yourself more. My younger self was a much more bold person once I left home for college. And I think that I let the world turn me into a more meek, mild-mannered, and palatable individual. And I think that's done it in my growth, in my career trajectory. I'm not saying that I had a bad life or a bad career trajectory. I've done amazing things, fortunately, but I know what I have the capacity to do. And if I would have listened to myself and took the gamble, I think I'd be in a different place.
Wow. That is something I know. Yeah. I know I would tell, I like that question because I would just tell my younger self, like, hang in there. It's going to get better. Nice. Just hang in there because, I wouldn't change anything of everything I experienced, but that is a good question. Yeah. It really is. Before I let you go, family, say again, Greg.
I said, thank you. This has been amazing opportunity. I really enjoyed the conversation, the dialogue. I appreciate folks coming with the questions. Some of them were more challenging than I anticipated, but I appreciate that.
No, thank you, sir. And for everybody else, just to see what we got coming up, we got some powerful other guest speakers come on January 17. We have Dr. J. Bruce Stewart, who talks about growth mindset, strengthening social networks, and on the 24th, we got Dr. Michelle Pacheco Turner, how to rebuild your identity after a major life transition. And of course, on the 31st, we have CEO with Luis Mobley, who talks about reinvention from, what's the cost of reinvention from artist to CEO. We're dropping new episodes. Please support the channel. That's how we grow. That's how we can support things. And there's the QR code. And we got somebody that says, "You are my inspiration, Gregory. Let's talk about your book. I will help you with that, with the launch." And who is it from? From our girl Yvette. So
thank you.
Yeah, so it's been a pleasure, sir, having you, and I'm looking forward to see what else you're gonna do. And to my guests, my family out there, thank you. Great questions, and just keep supporting, and thank you for all you do. I really appreciate it.
Y'all have a great one.
Everybody have a good one. Thank you.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness, one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.